All right, so this is going to be the first in a series of videos that I'm releasing, detailing what I'm calling the 13 vibrational levels of consciousness, or you could consider them like permission access levels. Before getting into each of these specific levels, I just want to briefly explain what I mean by vibrational level. What that is a phase of consciousness that determines how much power a person can safely access. The phase you're in depends upon how you interpret reality, where you locate authority, and how much influence you can safely wield. The levels describe a progression in which each phase produces the realizations needed to enter the next. People can operate at different levels in different areas of their lives, so the map describes the structure operating within the particular experience of each stage. So I decided that I would use song lyrics throughout these videos to identify the levels because song lyrics often capture the internal experience of a level pretty precisely. In the lower level songs give people a way to relate to problems, desires, and emotional structures organizing their lives, even when they may have not conceptualized those structures directly. But as consciousness rises, the meaning conveyed through songs can become increasingly explicit and direct, as you'll see when we get to levels 5, 6, and 7. At those points, the songs can sometimes express a realization or experience with remarkable precision, mostly because of the way very popular, well, the way songwriters write their lyrics in general. And that's something I'll get deeper into in the future. At any rate, using song lyrics is useful for showing what each level feels like from within it. Uh, which problem defines it, and which realization begins moving you beyond it. For the full explanation of how the map works and why it contains 13 levels, strongly recommend checking out the introductory video. So this map here begins with the first level of self-reflective human consciousness, which is essentially you know that you exist, not worrying about animal consciousness or anything like that. If you can recognize yourself as existing, that's what we're talking about. Here's the first level. In this first level, you know that you exist, but you have some feeling of inadequacy, insufficiency, or belief in yourself as powerless. In the taxonomic version of the levels, the taxonomic version is something I'm going to create afterwards. This version is the experiential explanation of like how I perceived the ascent as it happened. So the experiential version isn't going to be as identical to the taxonomic. This is just like my own interpretation of what it was like as I was sort of moving up the rungs. So in the taxonomic version of the levels, this first level won't be called powerlessness, but given we're inside this service to self pyramid structure, powerlessness is just a very common place most people start, since the elites at the top have so much money and power, while the majority of the rest of everybody else is at the bottom and has little of either. So powerlessness doesn't mean that you're like physically incapable of acting. You may work, socialize, consume, react, pursue relief, and make ordinary decisions. The problem is that your internal state is being determined by forces you can't consciously govern. Your activity remains downstream of pain, compulsion, fear, other people, and whatever temporarily changes how you feel. There's two songs I found that describe this level very well. The first is Evanescence, Bring Me to Life, and the second is Tove Lo's Habits. The Bring Me to Life version is kind of an extreme degree of this, but I just thought it fit it pretty well. And I'm not going to go into the full entire lyrics. I've just picked like certain sections that I thought detailed it pretty well. So pick these two parts of it. The first part goes, "How can you see into my eyes like open doors, leading you down into my core where I've become so numb?" And then the second part goes, "Wake me up inside, call my name and save me from the dark. Bid my blood to run before I come undone. Save me from the nothing I've become." So, like I said, that's like a pretty extreme version of it. Most people probably won't feel this, though. A lot of people probably may have felt that at different parts of their lives, for small periods. The significant part about these lyrics is that she feels so powerless that she needs someone else to rescue her from that powerlessness, because she doesn't see any way out at all. So she feels transparent to others, that anyone can see through her, since even hiding the idea that she has no power also seems to her to be impossible. And as I've said, this is like an extreme degree of powerlessness. Um, the key point of level one is that you feel so helpless that you're waiting for something external to change in order for you to even like have a chance to be anything or to make anything of your life. And existentially, your external circumstances make you feel so unfulfilled, and you can see no way out of it. From the singer's perspective, she can't even seem to like make her own blood move, and she's unraveling to the point of coming undone. So, in a general sense, almost everyone can probably point to a moment in their life when they felt like this. When you get to the cusp between levels 6 and 7, you'll certainly experience this, but we'll get that. We'll address that when we get there. Um, Levels 2 through 6 are essentially successive attempts to resolve this initial powerlessness. You first recognize what's made you feel powerless. That's what happens at level 2. Then you'll spend lifetimes trying to overcome it through effort and achievement. Then you'll realize that that can't get you there either. Then you move into right action and integrity, and eventually you discover that none of these routes has any path to real fulfillment. Regardless, this is the unconscious experience of what life's like on Earth. That is, unless you have this map that I created that's going to show you how to get out of it. Well, maybe not show you how to get out of it, but it's going to explain how it all happens. Underneath the attempts from levels 2 through 6, it's always some sort of mistaken belief about yourself. Either that you're inadequate in some way, that you have some insufficiency that needs to be fixed, that you're unable to alter your circumstances, or just in some way you are incomplete as you presently are. The journey from level 1 to level 7 is a process through which that premise is progressively exhausted until you directly experience that you were already whole. These were just mistaken beliefs. So if you want the deductive logic behind that conclusion, you can watch the first video I made that called The Framework of Reality. So the second song that I chose here was this Tove Lo, Habits, and there's a bunch of parts from it that could fit. We'll just stick with talking about this one here that goes, "You're gone, and I gotta stay high all the time to keep you off my mind. Trying to forget you, I fall back down. I gotta stay high all my life to forget I'm missing you." So yeah, there's like a less severe version of level 1 that probably more people can relate to. Regardless what activities any of us engage in to avoid the feeling of powerlessness, we all have something that we'll turn to just avoid it. On the surface, her experience, her perspective, it looks more active. She's choosing. There's other parts of the song where she chooses like substances, nightlife, food, sex, and other types of stimulation just to avoid forgetting or to avoid having to think about what she doesn't want to think about anymore. What she doesn't want to think about is missing. Um, the thing is, none of these choices that she's making are free. Every choice is it's being dictated by the need to prevent contact with an internal condition that she can't tolerate. The absent relationship still governs her behavior because everything she does is organized around escaping its emotional effect. Anytime you're like drinking to escape or doom scrolling or burying your face in your phone or the TV to avoid life, you're essentially doing the same thing. The stimulation functions as just a distraction. So she's saying she can't be alone with herself without feeling pain, so she continually alters her state through some external means. The behavior creates motion without restoring agency, so she can choose among several forms of escape, but she cannot yet choose whether escape will govern her. That distinction also explains why these lyrics can describe the condition without already belonging to level 2. You can know the immediate reason for an action, like "I stay high to keep you off my mind," while remaining entirely inside the premise that makes the action necessary. She recognizes that she's in avoidance, but she's not yet recognized the deeper mechanism that has led to the avoidance. Naming the trigger, it's not the same as seeing the reason behind the trigger. So in Bring Me to Life and Habits, they describe two versions of the same sort of arrangement. In Bring Me to Life, you need something external to bring you to life. In the second, you need something external to prevent you from becoming fully conscious of the reasons behind your pain. One seeks external activation, the other seeks anesthesia. In both cases, you lack direct authority over your own internal state. So that's the first level. And when we get into level 7 and above, I imagine this is going to be like pretty interesting for a lot of people, and it's going to blow a lot of people's minds. So just pressing the subscribe button if this topic interests you. I've had problems in the past with being consistent on YouTube. So what I did this time is I just went and I like recorded all 13 levels first, and then I set them to release intermittently. So press subscribe, and then it'll let you know once each one comes out. That's it for this one. The last thing I needed to say is what I decided to do was I created the first 6 levels in a full video. And then I uploaded individual like 10-minute clips that of like each individual level that I'm releasing over the course of weeks. So if you've watched this one and now you're interested in seeing the full 1 to 6, just go click on the channel and then you can go and find the full video there.